Welcome to the Four Heroes podcast. We have a special episode for you today. It's an inside look at the Adopt-A-Station program. Two of our volunteers sat down with me to talk about their involvement with their shift. You'll learn what Adopt-A-Station is, what made them say yes, what are some of the memorable moments they've had while serving their shift, what keeps them going regularly, and also what it takes to participate in Adopt-A-Station. We hope that you'll enjoy hearing their stories and learning more about this hands-on ministry to first responders. Adopt-A-Station is about more than just delivering food. It's about building relationships and joining our mission to offer hope and help to heroes. So in today's episode, we get to highlight something really exciting that Four Heroes does, and it's the Adopt-A-Station program. My name is Bonnie Douglas, and I'm the Director of Operations for Four Heroes, and I have a couple of cool guests with me that are involved in the Adopt-A-Station program, so I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Well, hey, my name is James. Most everyone calls me Jam or Andrew or a number of different names. You can just pick one. Worked with Starbucks for about 10 years now. I've been doing Adopt-A-Station for about 2. I'm a video gamer in my spare time. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm Courtney Davis. My friends call me Courtney. I have been a part of Four Heroes. Yeah, I have been a part of Four Heroes in some form or fashion since 2020 when Bonnie Douglas, the director of all things Four Heroes, started leading worship at Rolling Hills. And so been a part of Adopt-A-Station for about 2 years, and I've been a financial partner for like a year and a half. I don't know. You could pull records. You could check receipts. But yeah, definitely something that's I'm very passionate about and is important to me. I am a trafficking specialist case manager for a local child advocacy center out of Atlanta, where basically I just work with like kids who have sexual exploitation experience.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I am also a mom to a rambunctious 4-year-old that turns my hair gray on most days.
Y'all have been involved in the Adopt-A-Station program, and so the first thing that I want to do is kind of briefly explain what that is. It's an opportunity for volunteers to get like actually hands-on with first responders. They adopt a shift at one of our stations. Fayette County Fire and Emergency Services has 9 stations, and each of those stations has 3 shifts. The program allows people to adopt a shift and bring them dinner and build relationships. They bring them dinner every 3 weeks because of the schedule that they have. If they come every 3 weeks, then they see the same people and can build relationships with that same shift. So that's the basic kind of idea of Adopt-A-Station. So is there anything that y'all would want to add to kind of give our listeners like a full idea of what this opportunity is?
I mean, I think you encompassed it very well. I mean, it's just all very organic. Like, it's not this formal bringing of dinner. It just feels like you're just come and have dinner. You know, dinner is disarming.
Yeah.
I've never heard of dinner as disarming.
You never had my dinner.
Yeah, it's definitely, the intention is way more chill than for it to be like a formal, you know, we show up at this time, we leave at this time, we do exactly this in this order, and then we leave. Like, one thing I can say is I've ended up playing Smash Bros. With some of the firefighters long after everyone else left. So yeah, that's awesome. So it's an opportunity for y'all to show up and build relationships and bring in some food. They always appreciate people showing up and showing them some appreciation. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the opportunities. Something I'll say about it is it's a great opportunity because it's incarnational, and that's like a theological term. The incarnation is Jesus, like God coming to us, to where we are. And oftentimes churches, people want to put on an event for first responders to say thank you, and they ask the first responders to come to them. But what's so cool about Adopt-A-Station is it's an opportunity for us to go to them. For sure. And they are so excited to open their space up and share their space with us, and invite us in and share a meal with us and have some conversation. So what are some of the things that made you say yes? Like, were there reservations, hesitations when you first heard about Adopt-A-Station?
I mean, you asked me to, and so I said yes. Just kidding. I mean, when I love people. I am an extrovert through and through. So any opportunity to connect with new people, I always welcome. And also too, I mean, this is something that, I mentioned my own involvement, but it's been something that my family has served together, which is important. And seeing, my son like see what it looks like to serve people and be the hands and feet of Jesus and get to see fire trucks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is
So
just his sweet spot.
he's joined you. He's come.
Oh,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah, he has. He's there most times. We started trying to alternate with, like, childcare so we could be more present, but he just was so disappointed if we left him behind for Station 3 nights. Every fire truck he sees is Station 3 in his mind. And so, so definitely knowing that opportunity to serve people and meet new people and serve alongside friends and family is something that I always love saying yes to. And I don't think I really had a lot of reservations hesitancy. I mean, there was that part of me, and firefighters are human too, right? They have families, they have 4-year-olds, they burn pasta, if that's a thing, but also too, like, they're heroes that, like, run into fires. I can't stand a spider. Like, I'm a chicken in so many ways. So I knew we'd have things to connect about, but there was this part of me that was like, oh my God, they're just, like, so brave, and I'm like a chicken. Like, what are we going to have in common? Which, there's just been so many things. Even a dislike for spiders. Some firefighters don't like spiders.
That is true. That's true.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty to connect with, and I don't think I had too much hesitation because I had been helping out with other For Heroes events and
Right.
had met a few firefighters. One of them actually turned out to be an old coworker of mine, so it was like, oh yeah, you're definitely someone I've just hung out with.
Well, you put fires out at Starbucks, so it's the same thing.
I do not put fires out. If something catches on fire, things have gone horribly wrong.
It was a different kind of fire.
I did catch a cookie on fire once.
There you go, see? You're basically a firefighter.
I don't think they would agree. So there wasn't much hesitation. Also, food is something that I do. I enjoy cooking and bringing people good food, so I didn't really have any hesitations about, like, how am I going to make a meal every 3 weeks,
Yeah, I can totally understand some people having some hesitancy or reservations because maybe they don't have any experience with first responders, so they're not sure what to expect. They're not sure what to expect walking into a fire station and what that environment's going to be like. But I've found that really a lot of those hesitations and reservations kind of melt the moment that they show up and start to feel at ease because the firefighters are so kind, so welcoming, so thankful. The stations are so comfortable and easy to navigate. One thing that I've said is, like, to view those stations as the firefighters' home. I mean, they're sleeping there, they're eating there, they're living there, and they worked a full 24 hours and take 48 hours off. And so when they're there, it's like their home. They welcome us into their home just with kindness and just appreciation. So I've seen those melt away. So if people will just push through those reservations and hesitancies and just try it out once, I've seen it just melt because they know what to expect now.
Yeah.
So this happens every 3 weeks. It's a regular commitment. What keeps you going? Like, what kind of memorable moments or interactions have encouraged you to just continue serving your shift on a regular basis?
The fire trucks. for my 4-year-old, fire trucks. No. I mean, just being able to build connection, sometimes like just really fun, what could be like considered surface level conversation, but also being able to have like deep conversation, being able to celebrate like birthdays and birth of new little ones and, talking about their deep sea fishing trips, just the things that are important to them keeps me going. I feel like there's been a lot of just really sweet moments since we've started serving at Adopt Station, like even just the sweet chance to like go on Christmas Day last year and bring a dish that we knew like one of our firefighters would love on retainer and being able to like bring that for Christmas Day. And they kind of were surprised to even see us there on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That was really cool. But I would say it was last fall we came to serve our station, and it was one of the times that we left our toddler at home, and at this point, Jam was playing Super Smash with some of the firefighters behind us connecting, and my husband, Robbie, and I were sitting at the table with one of the firefighters. We were just like, again, just chatting, find commonalities, and was sharing that he had a child under 2 years old who was born very prematurely and had some struggles and just some medical anxiety when it comes to having a child so early, which very similar experience to us. Had our son about 2 months early, and so we kind of found some experience in that. Well, he ended up deciding to share that like she had some appointments coming up up at CHOA to check on some things, and so like we were able just not only to encourage him to give those anxieties and cares to Jesus, and we just asked if we could pray for him, and he said yes. And so my husband and I got to pray over him and his wife and their daughter, even that winter when she got very sick and she was in the hospital for a while. Because we had that established connection, I was able to, through you and through talking directly, like able to provide some support while they were up at CHOA for a bit, caring for her. And so just moments like that where it's not just, one of a firefighter, like it's specifically this individual, this family, that we're able to make connections with.
One of the things that I tell people when we get an opportunity to serve and encourage them in a personal way is that their professional lives are difficult. Like their job as a firefighter
For sure.
is hard. Most of what they run is medical calls, and the fire calls that they run, it can all be very traumatic.
Yeah.
But when they're dealing with difficult stuff in their personal lives as well, it makes it even harder to bring their best to their professional life.
Yeah.
And so the support that we can give them isn't always pointed in the direction of their vocation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's pointed in the direction of, hey, what's going on with your family? Can we pray for your daughter who's having these medical issues? And receiving that support on the personal life front can have a huge impact on the professional life front.
For sure.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, they definitely all process just everything they deal with in different ways. And some of them are very humorous about it. Some of them are serious. Some of them kind of like don't want to talk about what they experienced out there. And so being able to be a voice that's either able to listen or chat about it and laugh about it as well, or just understand that, like, right now they just want to talk about sports or something else. Like, I think that's valuable to them.
Yeah. One of the memorable moments for me since we've been doing Adopt a Station was just a couple months into your experience with your group, or our group, at Station 3. It was great, and we were like, man, we got this opportunity to serve these heroes. They're amazing, and we're building relationships. But there was a shift a couple months in where one of our friends experienced something really difficult. Her son was hit by a delivery truck on his bike in their neighborhood, and it just so happened that our shift at our station, they were on call. They ran that call, and they actually did some amazing things to get him the help he needed as quickly as possible. They handled that so well and made a huge difference in their lives. And so this personal connection for me, I realized that they kind of went from being local heroes to being like our heroes. And we were able to experience this shift in our perspective, but also got to invite those friends, that family, to join us for one of the Adopt a Station dinners and like see this really amazing thing happen where the little one that had gotten hit got to ask the firefighters all sorts of questions and got to see just the trucks, because that experience was a blur.
What did you use on me? What was I doing?
He had so many questions, but there was also something really valuable and healing on the other side of it as well.
For sure.
Where they often don't get to hear updates and see how somebody's doing. And one of the major injuries was his leg. He was pinned underneath the truck and had a very intense injury to his leg, and he walked in the station, and the firefighters got to see him when they had a lot of concerns over him potentially even losing his leg. They watched him walk into the station, and they got to see this is how this situation ended up. Like, he is okay, he is walking, and they just had a great time together.
For sure.
Was incredible.
And to add to that, and something we probably need to make sure we tell them when we see them Monday, I was talking to his mom recently. He just did a triathlon. Like, the little boy just completed a triathlon.
That's so cool.
Which is, like, so cool because, like, you just don't know, based off of, like, how they responded to that could have made all the difference. And I'm sure it made all the difference of his recovery and his healing and being able to walk in that station and, like, complete a local triathlon, just
neat.
Last weekend. So, it's so cool.
Yeah, I'm sure the firefighters would love to hear that he was capable of doing a triathlon. Yeah, it's so neat.
And I know no one would ever dispute them being heroes, but the problem is, like, they don't always get to feel like it.
Yeah.
So the day that family came and all those kids were just looking at them like superheroes, it was like, you could tell it was like a special moment for them. They were just soaking it up.
Yeah, for sure.
It really was.
You want to know why? Because dinner is disarming. That's why. The only thing that comes to mind memorable too, and Bonnie might correct me on the correct quote, was like, you heard from somebody from this shift that they just had not had positive experience with Christians.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we heard that there was really a change in perspective towards Christians because of our showing up and being appreciative and serving them. Really, the three words that have been sticking out to me is Adopt-A-Station gives us an opportunity for them to feel seen, for them to feel supported, and for them to feel served. And they're constantly doing that for others. They are making people feel seen, supported, and served. And so we get a chance to do that. And I think this particular first responder felt hesitant to having our group come in because some of the experiences he had had with Christians were negative. He communicated to someone that the Adopt-A-Station group, that our group, was part of changing his perspective on Christians and giving him a more positive one. That's a big step, is this overall perspective change, because that negative perspective towards Christians will be a huge stumbling block and a huge obstacle for someone to get over if they're ever going to have a relationship with Jesus. So yeah, that's a really big one.
You mentioned that, and sometimes it feels like it doesn't have an impact at points, but that's always how you have an impact on somebody and get to the deeper parts of it. Like, you don't get to the bottom of the ocean without going through the surface.
Yeah.
So it's funny to think about some of the impacts we have had, you know. After we barbecued there one day, it's like, wait a minute, since then, they got a new smoker.
Yeah.
And one of them is always talking to me about what he's smoking and what he's learning and, you know.
Yeah, well, this might sound simple, but one of the things that I think that's just gone a long way is just our kindness towards them. I think it's not as typical for people to just experience kindness in this world. Like, they're just experiencing a lot of conflict on a day-to-day basis, experiencing a lot of negativity. And the fact that we just show up and are just kind and positive, I think goes a long way. So...
For sure.
In their job, they experience sometimes the worst of society. And so having a smiling face show up and be like, I brought you a hot meal and I'm just here to talk to you and chill and have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What about actually executing this on a regular basis? What does it look like to make this happen? Like, what are the things that you prioritize when planning?
Food is not the main thing. We obviously do want to make a plan for food, who's going to bring what kind of theme. They always kind of get interested in what we're going to bring. But also just making sure that we have people that are able to come and attend. Obviously, like, while we're there, being intentional with our conversation. But, you know, we definitely want to make sure that we have manpower to connect. I mean, I could go by myself. I'm small but mighty. I'll talk to everybody. But I understand that when we have more people, we're able to foster more communication.
Yeah, definitely focusing on connecting with the firefighters.
Oh, because there have definitely been times that life be lifing, and we pick up Carrabba's or pizza, and hey, it's dinner, but like, we're still here for the same consistent company, regardless of the food they bring. And I've never heard a complaint about it.
Yeah, definitely. So the priority is really the building relationships piece.
For sure.
The food is just something that can add.
And it disarms them.
Yeah. Anything else about just what it looks like to actually execute this and make it happen on a regular basis?
Communication, whatever group you're doing this with. Just all be in communication with each other about, like, hey, this is coming up, like, you know, who's going to be there? Do you have life going on? Understandable, you know, well, I can be there and I can bring this, you know, I can chip in this.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, well, I really appreciate just y'all being here and being willing to do this and share your experience with Adopt-A-Station. Anything else you'd want to say about why people should get involved? Like, what makes this just so worthwhile?
It truly just gives you the opportunity to connect and serve people that are, like, as you mentioned, like, are constantly serving. The cool thing is that prior to me jumping on to specifically this shift, this station, you know, I was at times helping you fill in different stations if there were people that were out. And it's always different because, like, I would meet them once and then, you know, never see them again. But when you're going, like, week after week after week, there are times that people sub in on a shift, and the next time we see the firefighter or the first responder that was missing, they're like, man, I missed y'all, you know, right? Like, we noticed they're missing. They're mindful that we came and that we missed them. Or even times, like, first responders will sub in and be like, when you guys coming back, I'm going to make sure I take a shift, you know, like, to fill in, you know. And so they are on our radar to serve and to care for, but they also enjoy time with us as well. And, like, we're on theirs when they know it's like, hey, it's, Station 3 night, like they're coming. And, they also care about us. You go to serve and to give and to connect. They also are just so giving and so caring, which is why they're first responders.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of works out in their favor.
They're incredibly compassionate. So they care about us too and what's going on in our lives. So yeah, that's really sweet.
I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Serving people. That's what Jesus came to do.
Yeah.
And they're incredibly receptive to it. There's times where you want to serve people and they like fight you on it. They're like,
right.
And you're just like, let me serve you. And they're like, well, you got to fill out this form. And
it's
you gotta
me. I'm people.
Way.
I've gone a lot better.
But no, like they're very welcoming. They're very excited to have people show up and bring them food. And then they realize that you're staying to chat and hang out, and they start to open up to you.
Very trusting. I mean, we just bring them whatever. They never ask like what's in it. They just eat it,
Yeah.
So, very first meeting, they just ate food from strangers. I guess it's part of the job because people bring. I remember it was like 2 Christmases ago was our first Christmas with them, and like their kitchen island was just covered with like baked goods from like elementary schools and churches and things like that, and they're like, oh yeah, it's intense. And they just, well, they didn't eat all of it. That'd be concerning. But, they just eat fake stuff from people, Yeah.
They really appreciate it. And
yes.
And I will say something that makes Adopt-A-Station unique is that there are a lot of people that will drop things off to say thank you, we appreciate you.
For sure.
And they drop things off, and that is really kind and sweet. But I think that there is something different that they feel, a different message that they hear when we bring it but then stay and sit down with them around the table and eat a meal with them and talk about life. It makes that experience really unique.
We try to be mindful of different preferences and wants and needs when we do make meals because we do know them. We're not just dropping off food blindly to someone that we have no rapport with.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the fact that, like, in the Bible, Paul has to talk about food, right? He has to say, be mindful of what you eat, because the people who are also Christians are from a different culture, and they eat things that you were taught were not okay to eat. So Paul is talking about what's going on at the table, and it's a reflection of 2 different cultures coming together and learning about each other and having to get over their differences and issues.
The fire stations do have a unique culture. And one of the things that I thought was pretty funny is early on we kind of learned that there was a superstition regarding chili.
Yeah, we broke it.
Oh, yeah.
We broke the culture.
We didn't break it. We found the exception.
If it's not cooked in the station, it's okay.
All is well.
Because they have a superstition that if they make chili in the station, that it's gonna be a rough night. And we've learned their culture. We've learned that we don't say,
hope you have a quiet shift.
Yeah, I hope you have a quiet shift. That Q word is a bad one. And so
knock on wood if anyone's listening to this and they're on shift.
Yeah, hope not. But yeah, we have learned some of that culture, and the more that we take the time and energy and effort to kind of learn that stuff and show that we know it, I think the more they feel valued, seen, and appreciated by us.
For sure.
So,
I know I would.
Because dinner's disarming.
Because dinner is disarming.
Well, our hope is that we'll see more and more people take a step towards being a part of Adopt-A-Station. There are still plenty of opportunities. There's still 18 shifts available. And I have seen firefighters get moved from one shift to another. And they get sad sometimes when they realize that they're moving from one shift that has been adopted, and that's so meaningful that when they get moved to a shift that has not been adopted, they have actually verbalized that it makes them sad because it means so much to have that regular touch from Jesus followers who see them, support them, and serve them. So I appreciate y'all being here today, and we're obviously going to share the ways that you can take a step into Adopt-A-Station as listeners. If you're ready to take that step, it's really easy to get involved, and so I hope that you've enjoyed listening to just these 2 incredible people share about their experience. And yeah, like Frank says, that's all I've got to say about that. Thank you for listening to the Four Heroes podcast. I can't tell you how many times I've heard local firefighters express how much the Adopt-A-Station program means to them. It is a simple and effective way to offer them support. If you or anyone you know wants to get involved or adopt one of the 19 shifts that are still available,
you can text ADOPT to 770-301-5580. We hope that you'll join us, because even heroes need a helping hand.